right, I see. Well, let's get a divorce then. I then put the divorce papers on the table.
What? What's this?
It's the divorce papers, of course. Oh, have you prepared them already? If you did, do you want to use yours then?
No, that's not what I meant. Why are the divorce papers coming from you? Stop being so arrogant, Ivy.
Arrogant? You have been looking down on me this whole time. So that's why you think that I'm arrogant, right? But you're the one being the most arrogant person here.
If you say it like that, then you think that you're better than me, huh?
Well, I am. My name is Ivy. I have been married to my husband, Howard, for 10 years now. I knew my husband from my university years, as he was one of my classmates. But even when we were in the same classes during university, it's not like we began to go out because of that. Howard and I were just in the same classes and were in the same club at that time. After graduating university and second year into working at the company where I work now, Howard and I met again at a drinking party for our university alumni reunion. And from there, we hit it off and ended up getting married. My husband is a very bright and cheerful person. On my second year of working at the company, I was just stuck at work, and when I got to talk to Howard about it, I felt really relaxed, which is why we probably hit it off and I ended up marrying him. But now to think about it, it seems that I made the wrong choice. The first 8 years of our married life was very peaceful and satisfying. It was when my husband changed jobs that our marriage began to fall apart. Howard was so full of hopes and dreams for the future that he happily changed jobs, saying, "I was headhunted." But instead, his salary was lower and got reduced to half of what it had been before, and for this, he lost his motivation. After that, my husband became depressed and very narrow-minded about some things, and also got very self-deprecating. Still, it was a fact that my husband's brightness and cheerfulness had saved my life previously, and I was determined that it was now my turn to support him. However, this didn't work really well, and as a result, Howard couldn't get the point about my feelings of wanting to help him at all. My husband was always tired and exhausted when he came home late at night. "Welcome home. I cooked your favorite pasta for dinner today."
It's okay. I don't need it.
Huh? So, you already ate?
No way. I'm not getting any high income here.
Then, aren't you hungry a little bit? You need to eat something to cheer up.
That's really annoying, you know. You think that I'm useless, don't you?
What? I've never thought of you that way.
Well, I'm not really sure about that.
Saying that, my husband would not try to even look at me and would go back into his room. Even so, I won't give up easily, and I'll cook his favorite meals. But he would only take a few bites of it and then quickly goes back into his room. On weekends and on day offs, I would suggest that maybe we could go out for dinner, but he would just say,
"We don't have that kind of money,"
and wouldn't go anywhere. I really didn't know what to do anymore. And it was at that time my husband would make an impossible proposal to me. Well, that was probably the main reason as to why our relationship got worse. On that day, my husband came home early, which was very rare. And the expression he had on his face was very calm. Did something good happen? It makes me happy to see him like that too.
Ivy, I got a suggestion.
Okay, what is it?
Can you quit your work?
Excuse me? Quit work? There was no way I could do that now. My husband's monthly net income is less than $1,800. Our monthly rent is $600, and the utilities fees are about $200 per month. My husband's cigarette costs more than about $200 a month. Even if I calculate roughly like that, $1,000 are already gone. Even if we do our best to control the expenses for the food, $400 would probably be our limit. If we pay for both of our phone bills, $100 will be gone. And what can we do with the remaining $300? $300 is better than nothing, but for the two of us, it would not be enough at all.
You know, it's really difficult for me, knowing that you're earning more income than me. What, your current net income is about $2,000 per month, right?
What the hell is he talking about? I've been working at the company for over 10 years now. I really wonder what is going on in Howard's head sometimes. My net income per month is $3,500. But I guess that I should never say that to Howard.
I can't take it anymore. So if you quit work, then I'll feel much better, you know?
I was so angry at what he was saying. It seems like Howard was really looking down on me from the very beginning. He was probably thinking that he was providing for his wife, who made way less money than he actually did. No, I won't quit my work.
Huh? Why not?
It's because I love my job and my company.
So, you don't love me then?
That's not what I'm even saying. I am very proud of my job, so I have never thought about quitting my job at all. Then, my husband laughed as he let out a huge sigh.
You're proud of a job that only pays you $2,000? That's really funny.
Well, if that's funny, you, on the other hand, has a job which would only pay less than $1,800. If I could say that to him, then it would have definitely made me feel better. But if I said that, then I would be in the same level as him. I tried my best to remain calm and proceeded with the conversation. After that, my husband continued to pressure me to quit my job, but I never agreed to his idea. Then, my husband made some idiotic excuses and stopped providing any money into the family budget. What was the whole purpose of me being with this man? I really couldn't understand anymore. Then, just as I was beginning to think about getting a divorce, my husband began to talk about my father. My parents divorced after I graduated university and began working at the company. The reason for their divorce was because they just didn't get along well. There was no issues like cheating on each other or being violent. So what my parents had was an amicable divorce. When I was told of their decision to divorce each other, I was really surprised. Because to me, they seemed to be very close to each other as a couple. But still, I accepted my parents' divorce, thanking them for waiting until I had graduated and began working at a company. Now that they had finished raising the kids, I decided that if they were going to lead their new separate lives, I would support them in any ways. So, when my husband and I married, I lived with my mother, so I never really discussed about my father in details. My father, of course, attended our wedding, but we only saw each other only a few times a year.
Come to think of it, your father is about to retire, right?
Huh? Why?
Oh, it's nothing, but he's been delivering newspapers all his life, right? It was a lot of work for him, wasn't it?
It seems like Howard is misunderstanding something here. This conversation took place when we had just began going out.
Oh, by the way, what does your father do for a living, Ivy?
Oh, my father's a newspaper...
Is he the guy that delivers newspapers?
What?
That must be a tough job. I guess you're really grateful of your father, huh? I'm guessing his income is not that high, right? But even so, he did all his best to raise you up, Ivy.
Well, he's not 100% wrong, but if Howard thought it that way, then I thought it was okay for him to think that way about my father. Since then, my father wasn't mentioned that much, so I didn't really try to correct Howard about my father's job. But why did my husband bring up my father right now at this time? I couldn't understand what Howard was thinking. And then, when I had forgotten that we had talked about my father, I began to receive these mysterious phone calls on my phone. When I picked them up, it was always silent. At first, it was creepy, and I was slightly terrified as to why there were these silent calls, but the phone number which kept on calling me was displayed on my phone. So, does this mean that the person who is calling me wants me to know who that person is? As I began to think that way, I gradually became less and less concerned about these silent calls. And one day, When I got the call, I switched the phone on speaker and left it alone. Well, it's not like I was the one calling, so I wouldn't be charged for these calls. And that's when I heard someone cough over the phone. That person definitely sounded like a woman. I see, so it was a woman who's been calling me. Then I heard, "I'm home," over the phone, and then the call was disconnected right after that. That voice is my husband's voice, right? I see, so there's a woman whom my husband is really close to that he can even say, "I'm home," and visit her at her home like it was his. He doesn't even try to provide for the family, and all he does is tries to pressure me to quit my job. I really don't need a husband like him anymore. I immediately requested the investigating agency and asked them to investigate about my husband. It was difficult to find a good agency and it took some time to sign a contract with them, but 2 months after finding out about Howard saying I'm home to another woman, I was able to get enough evidence of his affair. And I was waiting for the right time to divorce Howard. Unfortunately, my husband brought up the subject about divorce before me. It was a very upsetting story for my part, but my husband has suggested for a divorce.
Hey, how much did your father get when he retired? He already retired, right?
Huh?
So, I'm asking you, how much did your father get when he retired?
I don't think he'll get any retirement money.
What? Then what was the point of me being with you all this time?
I don't really understand what you're saying.
I mean, I knew that he wouldn't get much retirement money since he only worked as a newspaper delivery man, but still, it's better than not getting it.
Well, yes, indeed. It's better to get it than not to get it.
And yet, your father won't even get the retirement money.
Yeah, he won't.
What the hell? I have been putting up with this for 10 years. I just wasted all my time, huh? If we can't rely on your father with money, then I don't want you anymore. I'm divorcing you.
Did you marry me for money?
No, not everything is like that. I already knew that a newspaper delivery man like your father won't get much benefits. It's that attitude of yours since you had the last 2 years or so. That's why I feel like I'm not really attracted to you anymore. You've been looking down on me ever since I transferred to my crappy job, haven't you? And that's why I was being depressed too. So, I'm getting alimony from you as well as getting a divorce from you.
Alright, I see. Well, let's get a divorce then. I then put the divorce papers on the table.
What? What's this?
It's the divorce papers, of course. Oh, have you prepared them already? If you did, do you want to use yours then?
No, that's not what I meant. Why are the divorce papers coming from you? Stop being so arrogant, Ivy.
Arrogant? You have been looking down on me this whole time, which is why you think that I'm arrogant, right? But you're the one being the most arrogant person here.
If you say it like that, then you think that you're better than me, huh?
Well, I am. I don't look down on people like you do. And I would never ever cheat with another person behind my partner's back.
Huh?
I'm going to charge alimony to you and to your mistress, so please do keep that in mind.
What the hell? You knew about that?
Yeah, because I kept getting silent phone calls from your mistress. Don't you dare think that you can get away with this. I will track you down to the ends of the earth and make you pay for everything you've done. Saying that, I kicked my husband out of the house and locked the door. A month later, the divorce was finalized. I was able to get my ex-husband and his mistress to pay me alimonies. My ex-husband seemed to have saved up quite a bit of money, and he transferred me all the amount at once. I thought this would finally settle things down, but my ex-husband, without any lessons learned, tried to start a second round. Well, it's pretty obvious that I won again this time. That happened 2 months after the divorce was finalized. When I came home, my ex-husband was standing in front of the door. I took my ex-husband, who insisted for a chat, to a nearby cafe, and he suddenly burst into tears.
Why didn't you tell me about it?
About what?
about your father.
Huh? My ex-husband showed me an article from a magazine. In it was an interview of my father, with a photo of his face on the article.
Your father is the editor-in-chief, right?
Oh, about that. Yeah, that's right.
That means you lied to me intentionally, right? If I sue you for it, I'll be compensated, right?
Then why don't you hire a lawyer and file a claim for it? But, well, if you have the money, that is. Besides, I wasn't lying to you intentionally, you know. Sometimes my father does carry newspapers and magazines to his clients, so it doesn't change the fact that he delivers newspapers. I mean, you just jumped to conclusions on that one on your own. Oh, and you're also claiming compensation for emotional distress, right? Go ahead and do it. We can even take this to court if you want. I will never run away, so bring it on. Let's fight this to the end.
Even if you say that, you're still going to lose. You also lied to me about his retirement benefits.
No, you see, my father hasn't retired yet. So, how can you say that I lied about his retirement benefits? Besides, what does my father's retirement benefits have to do with us? Even if my father gets his retirement money in the future, it's his money, and it has nothing to do with me, you know?
But still, you might get some from him too, right?
Yeah, so what?
Then I could have gotten it too.
All you care about is only money, no matter what, huh? Because you were blinded by the money, you believed in stupid words like headhunt, and your salary decreased, isn't that right? Snap out of it, will you? I have nothing more to say to you. Don't ever show your face in front of me ever again. If you ever appear in front of me again, I will sue you, and I mean it. I slammed the $10 on the table and left the cafe. I loved him once, but that man is no longer the man I fell in love with. No, he probably was like that to begin with, but I guess I just couldn't see it. I couldn't make any good judgments about him that well. First of all, I need to learn how to judge a person's character and who they really are. My ex-husband never visited me after that, but a year later, I saw him unexpectedly. That day, I was enjoying shopping with my friends. And as we were about to enter a restaurant, I saw my ex-husband. He was wearing a uniform and serving customers. Apparently, he was working as a waiter in that restaurant. I was surprised to see him work in a very different industry from his previous ones, but I was glad he was hired. I guess he's doing his own best to make a living on his own. My friend and I looked at each other, chuckled, and quietly left. Since my divorce, I have been expanding my social life to better myself. I have become reluctant to get married because of what had happened with my ex-husband, and probably I will not remarry in the future. I live for my work, and this is one of the options that some people would choose. With what had happened in the past, I want to learn from it and live my life to the fullest. A husband who relies on his father-in-law's retirement money, he must be really weird. I hope that there's a lot of happiness waiting for Ivy in her future life. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video. My name is Amelia. I am 30 years old, and I work in a company. I am a hard-working career woman who loves her job, and since I love my job, you could even say that I am a workaholic. But even if I am a workaholic, I am married to my husband, Todd. I met my husband, Todd, at my previous company that I used to work for. Since we both loved to just work, we often talked about our jobs and about the company we worked at and went out for drinks together. Since then, we gradually got attracted to each other and started to officially go out as a couple. And 3 years has passed in the blink of an eye since we got married. And as we both work, we tend to share the house chores together. Since it has always been this way, I have no particular complaints about Todd or about anything. But for some reason, people around me have been asking me about if we are going to have kids or not recently. It seems that to many people, after 3 years of marriage, it is only normal to have a child or at least get pregnant. Well, it is true that the number of housewives with kids are increasing among my friends who are all in the same age as me. I guess the people who are concerned about it does not mean to be offensive about it, but instead, they are just simply worried and concerned about me. But well, my parents-in-law are being very annoying about it though. Every time Todd and I visit my parents-in-law at their place, they would always ask me about when they would get to see their grandkids. The other day, they even said this: "Maybe it's not good that you both work. Because of that, maybe you don't have time to get pregnant, right?" I don't have time and enough space in my heart to respond to every single comments that my parents-in-law make, so I just shrugged it off. To begin with, neither my husband nor I are in a hurry to have kids right away. Todd and I always talk about me getting pregnant as if it will happen naturally. And since both of us love our jobs, I think that it would be fine if it ends up being just the two of us. Even so, I can't ignore the fact that the pressure we get from the people are getting stronger and stronger, and I feel a little bad when someone mentions the idea of trying to get pregnant to me. On difficult days like that, I unconsciously cook some easy snacks which goes really well with beer, and eat and drink to forget the topic of getting pregnant or trying to have a baby. I find myself falling asleep on the couch, and seeing me asleep, my husband carries me to the bed. We really do have a well-balanced and harmonious life as a married couple. Why do I have to listen and care about what other people say? Just as I was being a little discouraged about having kids, I received a call from my brother, who was 3 years younger than me, telling me that he and his wife just had a baby. Hearing the news, I went to the hospital with my mother. Once we arrived to the hospital, I saw a very cute, adorable baby in my brother's arms. I was allowed to hold her in my arms, and I was so moved and touched by how the baby was so full of life and energy, even though she was really small. It really was a strange feeling. I see, so this is what it means to have a baby, huh? My younger brother, who was also concerned about his own wife's health, was always with her and spoke to her kindly and took care of her. As his big sister, I always thought that my brother was spoiled and really weak, but he had become a very brave, strong man, and I was moved again to think that this is what it means to become a father. And after this experience, I am a little ashamed at myself for admitting this, but I wanted to have a baby right away. Once I went home, I told my husband about what had happened and about my feelings. When I said that we should try to have a baby, my husband suddenly started to cry. Huh? What happened? Why are you crying?
Well, no, it's happy tears because you said that you wanted a baby and that we should try to have a baby, you know? Actually, I have been wanting to have kids for a long time now.
What? Really? You did? But I thought we agreed to wait and let it happen all naturally.
Well, you said that you still wanted to work hard at your company, Amelia, so I have been actually holding back, you know.
Oh, wow. Is that so? Then I am really sorry for giving you a hard time.
No, it's okay. Let's do our best and try to have a baby from now on.
Finding out about my husband's unexpected feelings, I reflected back on how selfish I was and felt bad. I was living too selfishly, haven't I? A husband and a wife should walk together and cooperate together as a married couple. So, since then, Todd and I did everything we could do for me to get pregnant. We gathered information on the internet, asked friends and their experiences in having kids, and just did everything we could. But no matter how much we tried, unfortunately, I still could not get pregnant at all. And before I knew it, a year passed in no time. And after 4 years of marriage, I could not get pregnant, and we still did not have any kids. My parents-in-law began to blame Todd and I even more harshly, saying it was strange that we could not have a child after trying so hard. So, my husband and I finally decided to undergo infertility treatment. I felt kind of bad about doing something like this, as it felt like we were trying to find out who the culprit was. But I changed my mind and decided to look at the situation from a positive perspective, as treatment can make things better. Todd and I then underwent various tests. After taking various tests, the clinic said that the results would be mailed to us at a later date. Since there was no point at all in being impatient and just being stressed about it, so I went about my business as usual. Then, one day after work, I suddenly received a text message from my husband. He had texted me asking to meet him at a bar. How unusual. Does this mean that he wants to eat out for the first time in a while? My husband is basically the type of person who likes to drink at home and doesn't want to go out that much. I replied back asking, "What's wrong?" But to that, he replied, "Just come over." I wondered what it was about, but since it was within walking distance from where I worked at, I headed to the bar anyway. When I arrived at the bar, my husband saw me and waved at me to come over. We sat down together and I ordered the same beer that my husband was drinking. As we ate our appetizers, I asked my husband, "What's wrong?" asking me to come over here all of a sudden. To that, my husband replied, "I wanted to talk to you about something." And suddenly, he became serious.
A person will come in a few minutes, so please hold on until then.
Oh, someone's coming over too?
Yeah.
I thought that this all sounded a little complicated, but I just continued to drink the beer and waited around with my husband for someone to come. Since I was getting a little hungry, we ordered fried chicken and some other snacks, which goes well with the beer. And about 10 minutes later, a woman whom I've never seen before came toward our table.
Oh, Kendall. Over here. Over here.
The woman called Kendall came over and she sat down beside Todd. She looked very young, so she is maybe in her early 20s, which means she must have just started working.
Would you like a beer too, Kendall?
Yes, please. Thank you. My husband orders the beer for Kendall as if this was a normal thing to do. Sorry, but who are you?
Her name is Kendall, and she's one of my colleagues at work. She recently joined our company.
Hi, nice to meet you. Oh, hi. What is the meaning of this? What's the reason for my husband to bring his colleague here out of the blue? Just what kind of situation is this? A lot of questions began to pop up in my head. I noticed that the beer was also placed in front of Kendall, and to this my husband said, "Cheers." So I hurriedly toasted with my can of beer as well. Why is Miss Kendall brought over here? And besides, you said that you wanted to talk to me about something earlier on, Todd, so what is it that you want to talk to me about? If I didn't say or question anything at this point, the conversation wouldn't go anywhere, so I couldn't help but ask Todd about it. Then, my husband and Kendall both put down their beer and got very serious.
Amelia, please listen to me. Kendall got pregnant, and she is having a baby.
Oh, really? Kendall's becoming a mother even though she's young, huh? It must be tough.
And the baby is mine.
What? Hearing this outrageous news, it felt as if I was being hit on the head from behind with a bat or something.
I'm really sorry, Amelia. Since I got Kendall pregnant with the baby, I want us to get a divorce.
Excuse me? Miss Amelia, please. I want to be with Todd so that we could raise our baby together. I really couldn't wrap my head around what both Todd and Kendall was saying. You mean to say that despite all what my husband has said about doing our best on trying to have a baby and getting infertility treatment with me, he just happened to have a child with someone he played around with, so now he's going to leave me and be with that person? This is just really unbelievable.
I really feel bad about what I did, Amelia.
Since when?
Huh?
I'm asking you, since how long have you been having an affair with her behind my back?
Well, let's see.
It was about 6 months ago in April. That was when I just joined the company then, and we had a welcoming party, and on the way home I asked him, "All right, that's enough, thank you." So that's how the affair started, huh? Both my husband and Kendall nodded together.
I know that this is not something that you'd expect at all, Amelia. But the fact that Kendall and I had a child so easily like this makes me think that she and I were destined to be together. Because, Amelia, we try so hard to have a baby and for you to get pregnant, but in the end, you couldn't get pregnant, right? So, I'm really sorry to you, Amelia, but I want you to divorce me and go on our own ways.
Hearing what he had to say, I was just so pissed off that I didn't know what to say back to him. Who the hell does he think he is? Was Todd saying that just because I couldn't get pregnant and couldn't have a baby, so this woman was way better than me? And was Todd saying that because that this woman has a child, my marriage to him is no longer important to Todd? Is this all what Todd thought of me as? I mean, why would Todd even make me come over to a bar to talk such important things like divorce? And Todd just ordered beer as if it was a casual thing, right? Does he think that we can talk about divorce and how our married life is in shambles in a stupid bar? How dare you underestimate me? You are such an asshole. Thinking all these things, my anger exploded at once, and I poured the beer I was holding in my hand onto my husband. Oh, Todd! Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. I was prepared for this to happen so that I can be with you, Kendall. I need to put up with it.
Oh, Todd! I was beyond disgusted. Who the hell do they think they are? Both Todd and Kendall was in their own world. I will gladly divorce a stupid guy like you. And with that, I left the bar. I then went back home first and packed my bags. And that was when I suddenly saw a mail in the post, so I had taken it out to see what it was. Oh, this. And there, I learned the shocking truth. Thinking that I could use this, I quickly packed up my belongings and left home. For the time being, I went back to my parents' house and explained the situation to them. Both my parents were upset with my husband and how he acted towards me, so they told me that I could stay as long as I wanted. The apartment I was living in with my husband was rented under his name, so I had no right to continue and live there. Besides, I didn't want to live there anymore because I was too disgusted to think that maybe that woman was using the apartment too. A few days later, my husband sent me the divorce papers, so I signed the papers and submitted them right away. With this, the divorce was finalized smoothly. As for the alimonies, I hired a lawyer and got my ex-husband and Kendall to pay me $20,000 each. A few months later, it seems like Todd and Kendall got married. Since it was indeed a shotgun marriage for Kendall, she quit her company and became a full-time housewife to Todd. I then waited for the perfect time to come. Kendall had told me how many months had passed since she got pregnant previously when I was divorcing Todd, so there were a few more months until the time when Todd and Kendall's baby would be born. Then, I visited Todd and his parents at the right time when their baby would be born. Todd's parents were very surprised that I came out of the blue to visit them. I had heard from my ex-husband that his parents had agreed with him, saying that he should switch to a younger woman than me if he was going to have a baby. So when I saw my ex-mother-in-law's face, I really had the urge to hit her. And Todd's parents were being surprised. But I heard a familiar voice coming from behind. It was my ex-husband.
Oh, you? Why the hell are you here?
In his arms was a small baby. The baby was innocent, but because the baby's parents are Todd and Kendall, I didn't think that the baby wasn't that cute at all. Well, I came here to talk to your parents. But good thing that you're here too.
What is it?
I'll make it quick, okay? That baby isn't yours.
What the? This baby is mine.
I'm sorry to say this, but that baby isn't yours.
Based on what information are you even saying that? You're not saying that out of spite, are you?
No, because it's not. It's just the truth. Well, it could be from just a small revenge too, but did you know that your body is incapable of having any kids?
What?
Well, this is the evidence. These are the results of the fertility tests. My ex-husband and his mother both looked over the documents. And as they read on, their faces grew paler and paler. The results showed that my ex-husband's body was completely incapable of having kids. So, there was no possibility of having a child if it was with him.
Well, then this baby is...
It would mean that this baby is another man's child. But, well, I'm not really sure if Kendall is in touch with that man, but yeah.
No way!
My ex-husband slumps down from all the shock. Well, that's it then. Goodbye. It was quite refreshing to see my ex-husband's reaction and his face looking very hopeless. And no doubt, Kendall will get what she deserves after she comes back. They all got what they deserved. Later, I heard what had happened with Todd and Kendall from a friend of mine who works at Todd's office. And it turns out that Kendall and Todd got divorced after all. My ex-husband was not only an asshole, but also an idiot for cheating on me and recognizing too late that the baby was someone else's child. And since people found out about what had happened, a lot of people thought that he was stupid enough to be too gullible about what was happening. People at his workplace also seemed to look at Todd coldly because of that, and since Todd was having a hard time at work, he also got demoted in the end. This is what Todd gets and deserves. On the other hand, as for me, as a result of my hard work, I was promoted and my income went up drastically. I am now living alone in a very nice apartment in the city and enjoying a very comfortable life. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you in our next video.